Today we're going to talk about two key features of object-oriented languages, namely inheritance and polymorphism. Now, as we go along, don't panic if things don't make sense right away, because these two topics are rather complicated, and they actually make a lot more sense when you see them in the context of particular examples. So I strongly encourage you to sit down with your IDE and code these examples up and see them in action yourself. Because as you do, you'll get a much stronger idea of exactly what's going on with these two features. Now, to start things out, I want to illustrate what's going on using the following example. And I should point out that here we're using UML class diagrams. Now, UML stands for the Unified Modeling Language. It is a diagramming language that is used to specify different aspects of software, among other things. Now, probably the most common type of diagram in the UML are class diagrams. And the way class diagrams work are as follows. For an individual class, these are represented by these rectangles here with the class name at the top here. So for example, we have three classes here that are pictured: pet, dog, and cat. Now, for the individual fields, which if you remember are simply the member variables or attributes of a class, those things are represented under the class name here and are listed such that first we have the label, then a colon, then the actual type name right there. And also note that we have this minus here, and this minus here just represents private. And on the flip side of that, plus means public here. And from that, you could probably guess at what is going on underneath the fields here. Right here, this is where we put our constructors and methods. And what we do is we just provide the signatures here. So here, this is the constructor, of course, for the pet class named pet. And right here, we're saying that it's public. And we see that the pet here takes a single argument of type string. We don't have to put in parameter names, but we should put in at least the types of the parameter arguments that will be given to the constructors or methods. Furthermore, the way that we show a return type for a method is using this notation here, where we put a colon and then the type name after it. Okay, so what this is showing here is that we have this class pet with a single field called name, and it has a constructor called pet, and it has these three methods: get, name, eat, and toString. Furthermore, we have these two other classes down here called dog and cat, and we see that dog here has a single field called isBig of type Boolean, which is private, and then it has a constructor and three of its own methods. And with the cat class, we see that it doesn't have any fields there, but it does have a constructor and three of its methods. Now, one very important feature of these diagrams here that we haven't mentioned yet are these arrows here, going from the dog class to the pet class and from cat to pet as well. And what these represent is an is-a relationship. In other words, these things are saying that dogs are pets and that cats are also pets. And we'll talk a little bit more later about what these mean in terms of code and overall behavior of these classes. But before we go into those details, let's first actually look at the code of these classes.